What's up, everybody? And this is Danny looking at the Oppo Find 5. And many people are not familiar with Oppo because they are more known for their Blu-ray players and things like that. But they have made an Android superphone, and we're going to look at it today. Well, superphone, when they announced it a long time ago, but now it's finally out. So let's go over the specs. It has a 5-inch 1080p display with Gorilla Glass, which equals 441 pixel per inch, but it has 2500 milliamp battery that's non-removable, but it's a pretty good sized battery for a phone this size, and it's being powered by a 1.5 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro processor with 2 gigs of RAM and the Adreno 320 graphics, so it's going to be able to push all those pixels around. And actually, for the price, it's really good. It's got a $499 price tag for the 16 gigabyte model and $569 for the 32 gigabyte model, and that comes unlocked from the Oppo website. So no longer will I keep you waiting. Let's just go ahead and unbox this, and it comes in a really nice box. You can see that latch was magnetic, so very, very cool packaging, and I really love good packaging in phones. So, and I think a lot of us appreciate that, so this will be no disappointment. There is the Oppo Find 5. It comes in white, and I'm sure there are other colors that are coming, but for right now, the white one is the one you get if you order off of the Oppo website. And here is a package here. Let's go ahead and open this in its sleeve and see what else comes in there. And we'll pop this open, and there is a SIM ejector tool right there, but let me show you this. That is really cool. I mean, it's just custom made with the Oppo logo on it. Very, very cool. I think that's a really nice touch. And here are some NFC tags, so you can go ahead and write them and do what you want if you are really into NFC there. So glad they put those in there, and here's some important information, probably warranty stuff and things like that. So let's go ahead and put that to the side. And let's see what else comes in with the box. Looks like you get a micro USB to USB cable, and you do get a US charging block, which is pretty cool. Little power adapter there. And it comes with some headphones as well. And it looks like it comes with a mic and some controls there. So I'll go ahead and test these out, or if you're curious about them, then I'll go ahead and test them out for you. But they look like a standard set of headphones. All right, nothing else comes in with it. So we'll go ahead and put this box to the side, but very cool box, by the way. So here is the Oppo Find 5 in its 5-inch 1080p glory, and we'll go ahead and peel that sticker right off of there. And on first impression, it is really weighty in the hand. It feels really solid, and you can see that it is a unibody polycarbonate shell back, and it has a steel frame, very, very solid, and it looks fantastic. And on the left-hand side, you will see a power on and off switch. Very clean lines there. On the top, you will see a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. And on the right side, you will see the volume rocker switch. And on the bottom, you see a micro USB and a microphone on the bottom. But sorry, no micro SD expansion. I know a lot of people were looking for that. But on the back, you will see a large 13 megapixel stack sensor and dual LED flash, which is capable of doing HDR 1080p video and HDR shots as well. Really looking forward to testing this camera out, so stay tuned, for I will definitely be posting those videos soon on the camera quality and video quality. And on the back, you see a nice machine part out for the speaker itself, and it is very loud and it sounds very clear, especially on the speakerphone on first impression. But I can't stress enough how good this build quality is, and the attention to detail on this phone is very, very impressive. I mean, even underneath the capacitive buttons here, you can see this nice ridge and these curves, very nice. And on the front, you will see a HD front-facing camera and the proximity sensors, and there's also a LED notification light to the right of this big speaker piece, which also sounds pretty good on a couple of the calls that I've made. And now you can see how this glass is definitely fitted right onto the body here, and it has some curved edges, so your fingers kind of go right over the edges. It feels really good, reminiscent of the HTC One X actually. So enough talking about the hardware. Let's go ahead and power this thing on and see what happens. So you will be faced with the Oppo logo when you first turn it on, and the color looks pretty good so far. And let's see how fast this thing boots, for it has that Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro that you will see in the Nexus 4 Android DNA. So very fast boot, actually. Very, very good. And on first impression, wow, this color on this screen is very, very nice. Very contrasty. And let's go ahead and take a look at this lock screen. Very cool on that flip. And very different looking than Android, but we'll go over that in just a little bit. Since this is relatively a new device, let's go ahead and compare it to some of the largest comparisons that you may find out there today. Let's go ahead and take out the Sony Xperia Z, for this is probably the biggest competitor right now, since it has very similar specs. It has the 5-inch reality display that is 1080p as well, with the same processor set. So if you take a look at the size of the Xperia Z compared to the Oppo Find 5, you see that's very similar. But the Xperia Z is much lighter since it has glass construction. You can see that the thickness is pretty much the same here. But what you'll notice is that the Xperia Z is a little bit wider. Very similar in size, but they definitely feel different in the hand. And the build quality is definitely different. The Xperia Z has good quality too, but all glass versus a steel and unibody construction, they definitely feel different in the hand. So see right there with the home button, I keep hitting that power button and sometimes nothing happens, and sometimes it turns on, sometimes it sticks, and I will definitely let you know if this is a problem or not. I'm going to reach out to Oppo just to make sure it's not a defective device. So here is the Nexus 4 close to it, and in comparison, they're not that far off in size, but you can definitely tell the Nexus 4 is definitely thicker, and the Nexus 4 is definitely shorter, but it's not anything too dramatic on size or anything. But definitely, I think the build quality goes to the Oppo. I would even go as far as saying the Oppo is built well as the Nokia Lumia 920. So here is the Samsung Galaxy S3, the very, very popular device, next to the Oppo Find 5, and you can see that they're pretty similar in length as well, but you can tell the Oppo's pretty thin, and you can see how, even though that the Galaxy S3 is curved, you can see that the Oppo does very well against some of the top competitors today. We'll see what happens with the Galaxy S4, but you can see the plastic back on the Galaxy and the nice polycarbonate on the Oppo. And just for fun and kicks, let's go ahead and put in the HTC 8X next to it, since it's much smaller. That's a 4.3-inch screen, and you can see how much shorter it really is. And you can see it's a little bit skinnier, but that's the good thing about the Oppo Find 5, is that it's really not that wide. So it's very, very good, and you can see how thin it is even versus the 8X, but the 8X also has some excellent build quality and a nice matte back as well. So there's the size comparisons there. So the Oppo Find 5 does really well versus the leading competitors today, but the only bad thing is it does not support 4G LTE. It has a pentaband radio, which means it's good for 3G with T-Mobile and AT&T. So let's take a look at this UI on the Oppo Find 5. It is Android Jelly Bean, but it looks like MUMI. So it's kind of weird, but it's actually kind of refreshing, for it looks a little bit different here. And you can see in the About Phone aspect, it's 4.1.1. And you can see that there's system update on the bottom. So, and I heard that they are updating constantly, so that's really, really good since it's an international unlocked device. And you can see that even pulling down on notification shade, that they put some useful toggles there. So if you don't like that cartoony look, maybe this is like 2008-ish or 2009-ish looking iPhone type of look, then maybe you might not like this, but it doesn't matter because it's Android and you can just go ahead and put Nova Launcher or whatever you want on it. But I think it's got some cool looking stuff to it, like even right there with the multitasking tray and the one button stop all. That's pretty cool too, and I'm definitely gonna be happy to use this UI for a little while, but I'll let you know if I end up sticking with it, and I'll go over it in my full review. But I may just throw a Nova Launcher on there, but I'm gonna give it a try first. So I have to really say, I really love the build quality. Very, very hefty in the hand. It feels really good. And the screen looks fantastic. And you're going to have to look at it to believe it. I think it is definitely as good looking as the Droid DNA for sure on the screen quality. And I think the screen quality is actually a little better than the Xperia Z. So what do you guys think about this Oppo Find 5? Will it be able to compete with the Xperia Z and the HTC One and the Samsung Galaxy S4 that's coming out? Or is it just going to be kind of forgotten because Oppo is not really a well-known cell phone manufacturer? But I think this has a lot of potential, and I think that this is really compelling in today's market. And the price isn't bad either, and it's unlocked. So please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and please leave your comments below. Let me know what you want to see in the full review. If you want to see more comparison videos versus the Nexus 4 or the Xperia Z, or if you want to see benchmarks and things like that, write them down in the comments below. And subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.